Hey everybody, Fundamental Skills Part 2. We are all about unit conversions here, unit conversions. This is really cool stuff. I actually think this is probably one of the most powerful tools that we can learn right away here. I'm sure you have learned a few shortcuts about this in the past. I am not going to take any shortcuts today. If you want to look up other things, that's fine. Here's the thing about shortcuts though. They really work better if you understand why you're doing a shortcut. So if you learn the shortcut without understanding the why or how it works, that can really mess you over, and you're not likely to remember that shortcut. So we'll go through a look at a way of reading this table, and you've got this table on your Physics 20, Physics 30 data sheets. You'll have it in Chem 20, Chem 30, Science 20, Science 30, you name it. You're going to see a table that looks kind of similar to this, any science course that you've got. So we'll look at a way of reading this table that's going to make it very, very, very simple for you to go through and do unit conversions. We'll look at a way of canceling units that's going to make it very, very simple. So the first thing that I want to go through and look at with this is sort of this table. So we've got symbols. These are prefixes that we've got here, and those go with base units. So base units are like S for seconds, M for meters, G for grams. What's some other ones here? I don't know. That's all I've got for right now. Seconds, meters, grams, things like that. When we put one of these symbols, these prefixes in front, it just tells us if it's a bigger or a smaller number. So for example, if I put an M in front of S, that means milliseconds. Okay, let's see, milliseconds. Oh, there it is right there. So milli, that's fairly small. That's 10 to the negative 3. You know that a millisecond is going to be small because it's 10 to the negative 3. If I look at meters, maybe I'll put a G, a big G in front of meters. That's now all of a sudden that's gigameters. Gigameters means 10 to the power 9. A gigameter is huge. Absolutely huge. So we've got those base units, that's the second letter, and we've also got these prefixes, that's our first letter. The second letter tells us what it measures. So for example, meters measures distance, seconds measures times, grams measures mass, right? And the first letter tells us sort of an idea of how big or how small. Nice. Okay. So those prefixes, we're going to kind of focus on those a little bit for a second. So one prefix unit, so for example, 1 gigasecond. Right? The easiest way to read this is one thing with a symbol is equal to this many base units. Base units. So for example, 1 gigasecond is equal to 10 to the power of 9 regular seconds. So one thing with the prefix is equal to this many of the base units. Cool, let's do another one. Micro, that's one we run into an awful lot. More in Physics 30, I guess, but micro all over the place. So 1 micrometer, that's actually a mu, it's a Greek letter mu, but 1 micrometer is equal to, let's see over here, 10 to the negative 6 regular meters, or 10 to the regular 6 of our 10 to the negative 6 of our base units. Now, if you can figure this part out, the rest is actually fairly straightforward. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit here, just so we can go through and work on a couple examples. Next thing we talked about in the last video is canceling out units. So units cancel the same way that numbers do. Any number divided by itself is equal to 1. Any unit divided by itself is equal to 1. What that means is, when we have things multiplied and divide, or numerator denominator, they can cancel each other out. So we'll start with this first one, 503 millimeters. 503 millimeters. Now some people like to put this over 1 just so they have distinct numerator and denominator. I don't really care, doesn't really matter to me. Things that I want to focus on though, is I want to focus on canceling out those units, and I want to end up with our standard units, our base units, which in this case is meters. So currently I have millimeters on the top in a numerator. If I want to cancel it, well, I need to divide or put it in a denominator. So I'm going to put millimeters on the bottom. I want to end up with meters. So I'm going to go ahead and put meters on the top. Now, forget about the units. Like, don't even think about the units right now. Or sorry, the numbers. Think about the units. Please do think about the units. We're going to forget about the numbers. Let's look at these units that we've got. We got millimeters times meters divided by millimeters. What that means for us is millimeters divided by millimeters are going to cancel, and we're left with just meters. Perfect. Okay, now that we've got those canceled out well, we can go back and start to think about the numbers. So it's 503. Again, we can put that over 1 just to have a fraction if we want to. I got to fill this in now. So lots of people try and take shortcuts. They just try to say, oh, meters, you know, it's like point whatever, you know, don't even worry about that. It all comes down to this. So we're going to millimeters. Let's find millimeters. There it is right there. So remember, one thing with the prefix is equal to this many base units. So the 1 will always go with the prefix. In this case, it's on the bottom. The next one, it might not be. Right, so the 1 goes with the prefix, and then what that means, so 10 to the negative 3 is that many base units. So in other words, 10 to the negative 3 meters is equal to 1 base unit. So when I go through and I plug that into my calculator, where'd the old calculator go there? There we go. Oh, we had pi up there last. That's nice. I'm going to do 503, and then I'm going to multiply this by 10 to the power of negative 3, and it's going to give me, 0.503. 0.503, and sig so we got 3 of them, so that's good, and of course meters. There's my final answer. Very, very, very nice. Cool, so that's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's try one out with time, right? Times, well, actually, you know what, let's do one more. Let's do kilometers. Let's do C. Why not? So 3.50 kilometers. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit lazy here and just do 3.5 kilometers, and I'll show you a little thing with this. Now, again, you can put it over 1. We want to think about canceling out kilometers. So my conversion factor, where does kilometers need to go? Top or bottom? It needs to go on the bottom. Excellent, because things on the top cancel with things on the bottom. Things in the numerator cancel with things in the denominator, however you want to say it. I want to end up with meters, so meters has to go on the top. Let's go back up to our little chart here. Kilo, there it is. So kilo means 10 to the power of 3, so 1 kilometer is equal to 10 to the power of 3 meters. So 1 kilometer is 10 to the power of positive 3 meters. We see kilometers canceling with kilometers. I do the same thing. I plug that into my calculator. So this is going to be 3,500 kilometers when we plug it into our calculator. Sig is a bit of an issue here. I took a bit of a shortcut here. Lots of people right there would be like, oh, it's 2 sig. You should always go back to the original question. 3.50, that's 3 sig. So this is going to be 3.5 times 10 to the power of 3. I screwed up there. That should be regular meters, and this should be regular meters. So 3.50, wow, lots of screw ups. 3.50, this is, I swear, this is the right one now, times 10 to the power of 3 meters. Okay, so most important thing with this, canceling your units, right? Things on the top cancel with things on the bottom. Let's check out, I got to erase this for a bit of space. Let's check out F now. F's a great example. It's time, right? So we don't see on our little chart up here that's now turning into a huge mess. We don't see minutes, we don't see hours, we don't see days, nothing like that. So those are ones that we kind of just got to memorize. So 2.65 minutes. If we wanted to change that into our base unit for time, our standard unit is seconds. So 2.65 minutes. So I'm going to start with that, 2.65 minutes. Again, you can put it over 1 if you want to see a distinct numerator denominator. Totally up to you. Let's see, I want to cancel out minutes. So same thing, minutes goes on the bottom, so minutes is going to cancel. Cool. I want to end up with seconds. Seconds needs to go on the top. Very nice. Bumping my headset a little bit there. So let's see, now we just got to think to ourselves, well, how many seconds are in a minute? Well, 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So 1 minute, the 1 has to go with a minute, is equal to 60 seconds. The 60 has to go with the seconds. Perfect. Now we can go through, we just get out our calculator, we say, okay, let's see, 2.65 times 60. Yeah, apparently, oh no, 2.65. Let's slow down a little bit there, times 60. 60. Wonder if I need to orient my smartboard. 159 seconds. 159 seconds, and I think sig are already taken into account there. Okay, one last example. I'm going to go through G. The letter G is one last example. It is a double whammy. 50 kilometers per hour. We don't really in physics use kilometers per hour very much. Ugh, we want meters per second. Pretty much all of our formulas need meters per second. Okay, so that's going to be a lot. I think that's actually going to be a bit of a double whammy is what we're talking about here. So 50 kilometers per hour, and you'll notice what I'm doing. I'm having a distinct top and bottom. 50 kilometers per 1 hour, numerator, denominator. So I'm actually going to need two conversion factors for this. One to get rid of kilometers, and then the other to get rid of hours. So let's start with kilometers first. I'm totally going to ignore hours, just focus on kilometers. Kilometers is currently on the top. I want to get rid of it. Well, it needs to go on the bottom. Things on top cancel with things on bottom. Cool. I want to end up with meters because in the end, I want meters over seconds. So kilometers cancels with kilometers. This one's pretty easy. I go back up here. I see, oh yeah, kilometer, 10 to the power of 3 meters. So 1 kilometer is 10 to the power of 3 meters. Nice. Okay. So now I've got, if I were to pause and look at my units, I've got meters over top of hours. So we have to get rid of hours. Hours is currently in the denominator on the bottom. So if I wanted to cancel it out, way over here, it has to go on the top, and it's going to cancel with it way over here on the bottom. I want to end up with seconds on the bottom because check it out, meters over seconds. And then I just got to think to myself, okay, well, how many seconds are in 1 hour? There's 60 minutes, and each minute has 60, so 60 times 60, that is 3,600 seconds. That's a good number to memorize. 3,600 seconds for every 1 hour. 1 hour is the same as 3,600. So as I go through and I plug this into my calculator, let's bring that guy over here, clear, move it over a bit more. I've got 50 times 10 to the power of 3. And then we're going to divide. So numbers on the top we can easily multiply. Numbers on the bottom we can easily divide. So divide by 3,600. And does it really matter that, you know, we divide by 1, multiply by 1? Not even a little bit. Who cares about those? Multiplying by 1, dividing by 1, doesn't change anything. So this works out to be 13.888888889 meters per second, which we are going to round to 14 meters per second for correct SIGDIGs. Cool, so there you have it, a little bit about unit conversions. And again, I'm sure that you've learned some shortcuts. As long as you're really comfortable with those shortcuts, feel free to use them. I would prefer if you understood where those shortcuts are coming from though. Anyways, that's all for now. Talk to you again soon. Bye.